What's up, everybody? Welcome back to another episode of Hops Geek News, your home for comic books, movies, TV shows, and typically we feature a beer of the week. I am Matt. With me, as always, is Lauren. If this is your first time, welcome. Stick around. Make sure you hit those notifications, drop a review, and typically we do a beer of the week. We do what we've messed up on, what we've looked into from previous episodes, news, reading, watching, and our main topic. However, today is a bonus episode, so we are going to be talking strictly about Supernatural Season 11, Part 1. So this is going to be episodes 1 through 7 of Supernatural Season 11 to catch up, as I am just about done with the show. And of course, we got to talk about the good stuff. We got to catch up. So, of course, Lauren, why don't you just dive us right into it? Because neither of us are drinking a beer. We don't always be drinking on this show. I got water. H2O is the good stuff. Maybe it's holy water.
H
I
to
don't
the
know.
Izzo. There, yeah, holy water. Delicioso. So
You just
episode
drink hot
1,
water in sync. I just want to.
Out of the Darkness into the Fire. So aired October 2015. So the darkness has been unleashed. But what does that mean? We don't really know yet. So Dean wakes up in the field after meeting the darkness. Sam wakes up in the Impala, finds Dean, and they drive. Meanwhile, Cass is hiding best he can as he fights Rowena's attack dog spell. Sam and Dean drive up on a town that is full of cop cars and bodies, only to learn people are going dark side with some thick black veins. They find a young new cop and head to the hospital, which is also full of bodies and infected people attacking. There's a man hiding in a closet holding a brand new baby, trying to protect the baby. He gives them the baby, which he says is named Amara, and he does this because he can feel that he's been infected as well. So Dean and the cop take the baby, and they leave Sam at the hospital, who happens to also be infected. During all this fun, Crowley is off having an orgy while possessing a woman living in the suburbs.
Okay, that's the most ridiculous. This is such a creepy episode because it's basically a zombie apocalypse breaks out. And meanwhile, Crowley is a woman living in the suburbs, and the two demons show up and they're kind of really confused. They're like, what are you doing, man?
They're like, so you called us after the orgy? Well, the best was because, he had to get out of the Crowley body because Cass had the attack dog spell that Rowena put on him to kill Crowley. Yes. So he stabs Crowley, but Crowley had already left his vessel and he goes into a woman. So that's where we left him. But, he goes into this woman and he gets the crowbar out of her car, leaves the groceries or whatever in there. And he goes in there to kill whoever and do whatever he needs to do. But then the husband approaches her and he's like, hey, I know it's your birthday. And so decided to swing with us. So let's do it. And so, he sticks around for that. Good for him.
You know what? Why not? Treat yourself, all right? Everybody's got needs, whether you're a demon, whether you're an angel, okay? Whatever. Cass isn't innocent himself. Cass has found himself in some romances and things of nature throughout the show, so treat yourself, man. I don't know what to say, okay? Aside from that, the name Amara is actually found in several languages. In Igbo?
I don't know what that is. It means grace.
I was like, are you trying to say LG? I thought it said LGBO. I was like, do you mean Igbo or LG? Whatever. It means grace. In Latin/Italian, it means bitter. It's also a Mongolian name meaning peaceful. And in Sanskrit, it means eternal. In Spanish, it's imperishable. In America, it's used as a derivative of Latin, amor, to mean beloved. And in Arabic, it means a sign. So it's very interesting how all
very relevant too.
Yeah.
It's like a bitter, she's very graceful and she seems peaceful. The darkness can be peaceful, but can also be bitter and scary. But she seems like, she loves Dean.
She does.
And is she a sign of the impending doom or a sign that we've been living under the real villain, God?
Dun, dun, dun. Now, the cop in this was also the kid who was kidnapped by the alpha vampire and turned into their Stockholm Syndrome blood slave in an early episode. I love when a good... Because you're always, hey, this person looks familiar. This person looks familiar. And it's probably either from an earlier episode of Supernatural or because they've appeared in Supernatural and then gone on to do other things. And that's my thing now. I'm like you. I'm like, God dang it. I noticed this actor. They were in Supernatural or something like that. Jesus.
Yeah. There was a few others too that had been in other stuff, but she was the biggest one. And she was the one that looked familiar to me. And it was like, actually, the guy who's holding the baby looks familiar, but I don't know what he's from. I don't think he's from Supernatural beforehand, but who the hell knows? Maybe he is. Who knows?
Yeah. So we finally meet Amora, who's going to be the darkness. She's a baby in this, and they don't really know anything about her at this point. They just kind of take on this baby, and
they have no idea she's the baby. Yeah. They start to...
They know they unleash the darkness, and that's all they know, but they don't know the baby is the darkness.
They think this is just a baby, as one does when you see a baby. You assume it's just a baby. You don't assume it's the darkness that is also God's sister. But you never know.
I don't have any other thoughts from episode 1. Do you have any? I don't hate that. Again, I feel like this was the last decent season before we hit a lull with season 12. So I'm still was really vibing this season when I first watched it.
Yeah, this one has some good episodes. I feel like I never remember what season until we like go over them in this, because usually it's just like next on Netflix.
Well, yeah, you're watching, binging, whatever it is. So going into episode 2, Form and Void. While Sam is trying to find a cure, the cop and Dean take the baby to her mom's house. The baby throws blocks into the wall to communicate that she is hungry. So they call Dean back. He answers, "Ghostbusters," and then makes a U-turn. Cass is still cursed. He has been kidnapped by angels wanting to know about Metatron, because we're still dealing with Metatron. While being tortured, Hannah shows up to rescue him, which is a bunch of bologna and cheese, because he escapes to the bunker as Sam continues his research. Billy the Reaper shows up, tells him no more dying and coming back. Next time they die, they go to the empty for good. He then keeps having visions of the cage, but he does find a cure involving holy oil. Not holy water, holy oil, which is olive oil for Italians. And back with the baby, Dean shows up to see that the mom has called a priest. Father Crowley, of course. Who else would it be? However, sadly, the baby eats the cop's soul. She then stabs her mom. Amara escapes. Crowley lures it in a van.
Lures Amara into the van.
Yes.
Do you want candy, little girl? And he has a van, like a family. He's basically kidnapped a family.
Hey, come on in. Instead of candy and lollipops, I've got people's souls.
I have souls. Yes.
Yeah, this is really when we first see something's up with this baby. And I wish all babies could have communicated by throwing blocks and saying they were hungry. That would have made life so much easier when my kids were infants. But this isn't just any ordinary baby, as yeah, it was kind of shocking to be like, oh, dang, she ate that person. And that's how she gains and grows up really fast. She feasts on souls, man.
Yep. So some fun facts. The song that Billy the Reaper was singing was the song that was playing when we first saw Death, which was an epic entrance. It's the "Oh, Death." And she's kind of singing it, which she later becomes. So was this foreshadowing? Did they know she was going to become Death? Or is it just because she's a Reaper, it's relevant? So Billy says to Sam, "You flirting with me, kid?" Which could be, "You flirting with death, Sam?" This is the first episode that we learn of the empty, which Billy says no one can escape, which we later learn is, as you would put it, complete baloney.
That's right.
So they're setting, I mean, this is season 10. So we are 9 seasons done, and we are still learning new things that become very, very relevant in the next 5 years of the show. Like, we see the empty quite a bit. We see different forms of the empty. And I was going to say something, and thank God I didn't. Okay, because you're not done.
I'm so close. I'm so close. I'm almost there. Oh, don't stop. I'm so close. Yes.
But I mean, obviously, you know, Jack pulled, you know, Cass out of the empty. We know that you can come back from the empty.
I didn't know what the empty really was at that point until they show us the empty is just basically stupid, sexy dominatrix Venom.
Dun, dun,
that's all I think about the empty. Yeah, not much. Crowley's back. Crowley's, you know, Father Crowley. I love when Crowley shows up pretending to be somebody else, or when they go to a case and somebody's like Cass is already there, or Jack's already there, or, you know, in this case, Father Crowley shows, and you're just like, they're really him? And things obviously go haywire at that point, because, you know, they will. That's one of my favorite things. I'm loving Crowley at this point. This is when I really, really fell in love with Crowley, was this season, just because he's off the wall and he's just doing his own thing, man.
Yeah. Well, and I love we get the Scooby-Doo reference where like Dean's like, "This isn't Scooby-Doo," which is hilarious because this is before they do the Scooby Natural episode.
Yes.
But when Crowley's like, "I'm way more of a Daphne." And then you also get, they're like, when the mom's like, "Well, who are we going to call?" And that's when it cuts to Dean and he answers the phone. Ghostbusters. That was fantastic. Yes. I love that.
It was, man. And
I do wonder if this was around when they did the Ghostbusters parody with Hillywood, because I know it was after they did Shake It Off. So if anybody hasn't seen that, Hillywood, they have 2 parodies. Both should be safe to watch. If you're listening to us, you've probably seen it all, because we spoil the crap out of things.
I've watched them both. Yeah, I'm pretty sure they are, because you've shown me them.
Yeah, so but like the Shake It Off, you can't do till he's got the mark cane, because he's shaking it off. But I think like 10 is safe to do. Winchesters, who are you gonna call? Winchesters. They do a phenomenal job.
That is right. All right. Episode 3, The Bad Seed. We kick this episode off with Rowena, who I still don't like at this point, is attempting to put together. She is her mega coven.
Coven.
Witches were none too eager to join. Nobody wanted to join. She does find a couple witches, maybe. Dean keeps seeing Amara because they are connected. And the boys in a locked up cast are looking for a baby Amara, not knowing at this point she's grown up to be a child. Crowley has her. He's training her with some Hitler speeches and whatnot, because he's a demon. He's trying to make her really evil, I guess, you know, as one does. Kind of weird. Anyways, the Winchesters are also looking for Rowena to reverse the curse on Cass. Rowena gets sneak attacked, captured, and with a gun to the head, here's Cass. Then escapes. We end with another Amara, nanny, soulless, and dead, and a young teen Amara who is so hungry. God, every kid can I have a snack, can I have a snack, can I have a snack. Only this kid eats souls and listens to Hitler on tape, I guess.
Yep. So some fun facts. This is a Jensen-directed episode. The title is a reference to a 1956 movie called The Bad Seed, which is about a mother who suspects her little girl is a serial killer. So at around 18 minutes, while in the interrogation room, the camera cuts to Sam sitting at a table. And behind him on the wall is a wanted poster, and apparently Jared Padalecki's face is on it. I did pull it up on my phone. I did not see, you can see there is something in the background. I should have pulled it up on my TV. But I did not confirm, but there is something in the background right at that. It says 1836.
That's cool.
So, in the bar scene between the demon and the angel, the Loud and Swain song, Big One, is actually playing the background. If you don't know who Loud and Swain is, that is the band that Rob Benedict, who is Chuck, is the lead singer of. And if you go to a Supernatural Con, they always do concerts. They do a lot of the...
Oh, yeah.
And that bar scene I loved. How much did you love the bar scene of like the demon and the angel like get together and they're just like bitching about their job? Like,
it was the best because...
it was like good omens.
Well, I mean, because there's demons and angels are often so far fighting each other, but... in this case, they're just sitting there and God dang, you can relate. Okay. Even demons and angels hate their jobs. They're talking and having a drink about how much their jobs and their bosses suck. Okay. That's the most realistic thing I have ever seen in this show at this point, because 100%, dude. Yes.
I love the more angels and demons we meet, the more, because when we first get introduced to angels, Ruby's like, you got to run for it. Don't get between, Godzilla and Mothra. And like, even all these demons are terrified of these angels because you're always the most terrified of what you don't know. But then to meet more of them and realize like, there's similarities in some of these things. And I think
they're hardly different than humans in a lot of aspects, including hating their jobs.
Right. And some of these demons, it's like, how long were they in hell for their soul to be tortured? Like some of these people ended up in hell because they sold their souls or something, not because they were necessarily evil. And, Dean had been down there long enough. I'm sure he would have been converted to a demon.
Well, Dean was down there 40 years in hell time. So, I mean, also that's what a lot of people don't realize.
Winchester lasted 100.
Well, what's her name? Eileen, she was gone for 3 years, which is like 360 years in hell time. So
how long was Kevin Tran?
Yeah. Oh, dude, I can't wait to talk about
I told you his story got more and more tragic.
I cannot wait to talk about both Eileen and Kevin Tran. So spoilers, I guess. But yeah, anyways, you're right. You often forget that the demons are in hell being tortured more often than not. I mean, or they're committing torture or something of that nature. They're tortured souls. They are tragic characters. Not all of them are evil. Not all of them ask for this. A lot of people sell their souls to cure cancer, for example, or things like that.
Somebody else.
Yeah, or for somebody else. So you do forget about that. And I thought this brought back a human realism to these characters that made them relatable.
And it was. And then Cass is on Dean's computer and he comes across Fortune Nookie.
Jeez.
Which is
my God, yes.
Site. And he seemed so confused and innocent, even though we obviously know he's watched.
Sam, be for real. Yeah, come on, Sam. Don't act like you don't do this too. Dean's just very open about it. Oh, Cass, you're right. So
Cass is like, how does this help? How is Fortune Nookie going to help?
Oh, brother. Oh, brother. Yeah. Good stuff.
So, number 4.
Do it.
This is a good one. Baby. So this starts with a destroyed baby covered in blood. Oh, that sounds terrible when I say it aloud. Baby referring to
baby is the car, okay?
But it's showcasing the Legos and the initials, and it has Dean handcuffed in the backseat, bloody and passed out. Then we cut to Dean washing baby in the bunker while wearing shorts. Then they're off to a case. They stop at a bar. Sam gets lucky, and then Dean night moves. They pull over to sleep in baby. Keep in mind, this whole episode is inside baby. And Sam dreams that a young John Winchester is driving and talking to him. We, of course, now know it is not, in fact, John. So as they continue to work on the case, Cass is still in the bunker doing research for them because he's still recovering from the curse. It turns out they are not hunting a werepire, but something else. It's I forget how you say it, Noxiner. Anyways.
I don't know how to pronounce it.
How to kill them is you have to put a copper penny in their mouth, which we learned from Sam that copper pennies stop being made after a certain period of time, so they have to find an old penny. Fortunately, when that happens, the people they actually turned back, including the lady Dean was driving around that he thought he was saving, and then she attacked. He ends up taking her home after she's turned back, and he picks up Sam, and they drive home in a very beat-up baby. However, what they take away is that the monsters are even more scared of the darkness than they thought, as they're trying to build their own armies.
The
So that
darkness
was
is
just
it's fun because even in the less serious episodes, you do get the story advancing, like I've talked about a bunch of times. So they find out about the darkness or a little bit more. Even everybody's afraid of the darkness, essentially, and they don't really understand why or who the darkness or what the darkness is yet. They know
she's
it's
been locked up since the
yeah,
beginning of time.
it's important. And some fun facts for this episode: it was filmed very differently than any of the other episodes. For example, car scenes, there's a rig for cameras and a trailer that pulls the car. However, because the actors can't see to drive, that's how they do that. For this episode, the crew actually rigged the cameras into and onto the car in a way that Jensen Ackles could still see enough to drive. They would rig the lights and roll sound, and the actors would literally just drive away from the crew up the road. Ackles and Padalecki have said it was weird because they were just on their own with no one to say action or cut, and it was up to them to do most of their scenes without those cues, which I think is really cool. And it probably helped them as far as, Jensen likes to direct, and it probably helped them with future projects and things kind of grow their craft a bit.
Right. And the fact that they've been playing these characters in the show for 10 years, it was like
Yeah.
I don't know like how easy that would have been in season 1.
No,
for them to pull off.
that's not something you can really pull off in season 1 unless you're working with seasoned actors, because they've been actors, sure, and other things at this point, but they're not seasoned to the point they would have been able to pull that off in season 1. And this is actually the first and only episode to have no soundtrack, which means all of the music that we hear, they're actually hearing as well in the car, which I thought was really cool too. Yeah. During a convention, when asked about the ad-lib scenes in the show, Jensen says the moment in this episode that shows the boys eating and laughing was a Jared and Jensen moment, not a Sam and Dean one, because they had to spend so much time driving the car around all of the rigging in place to get filler shots. And then Jensen actually did the stunt move in the car.
At the end, when he does the wheel and he's like, that was all him.
That's fun. I would love to do driving. Every guy's dream almost. I feel like almost everybody's dream is to get to do some cool stunt in cars and wheel cars around like that. So I guaranteed he was having a blast.
Right. Well, and he knows that car so well too. But it's funny when you watch, because most of the time your attention's directed to Dean, watching him he's beat up and he's tired. But I mean, he knows baby like the back of his hand. But then if you look at the other actress that's in the car with him, like the look on her face while he's turning, and she's not a monster anymore. He's taking her home now, and she looks like I wonder how much of that was shocked that this man's actually doing that, and this is not like a stunt, and you're in this very intentionally beat up and glass torn out car while he's doing all this.
He's just skirt. I love, there's the scene where they're in the car and you're watching from the car's point of view, and there's that fight going on outside the car.
Mm-hmm. And Cass is on the phone.
Yeah, it's such a great, I loved this episode. You had told me kind of about it. You're like, there's an episode where it's shot only from in the car. So I was like, oh, that's cool. But I didn't really like how cool it was until this episode. It was really well done. I wish we had almost gotten another episode like this, because it was so cool. And it gave the car life too at the same time. Kind of how in Batman, Gotham City is its own character. Car very much. Baby is its own character in this show. And this kind of brings Baby to life.
That. Yeah. And I think that's exactly what they were going for, was this has been a character in the car for so long. Or character in the car, a character in the show for so
long. Character in the show, yeah.
But I mean, I think this is when we're hosting a Supernatural panel soon at Megacon, like you had mentioned. And so in the Supernatural panel, this is something we will go over, the highest rated shows and our most underrated as well. And we'll have some trivia in there too. But this is one of those highest rated shows. There are shows that are amazing and get the recognition they deserve. And I think that this is collectively
episodes,
a favorite. And I mean, Night Moves is, every time I hear it now. We were at a bar and it came on, and of course I sing my brother's 67 Chevy rather than the actual line, because that's how I hear it.
Yeah.
Backseat of my brother's 67 Chevy. But it's a lot of fun, and it's fun to see them bonding too, because we don't get those scenes so much in the show because it's not relevant to the plot usually. So it's nice to see how they made the car home. And you see them laughing. And then to find out that was Jared and Jensen, not even Sam and Dean. But
which I'm glad they kept in.
It is Sam and Dean, though, because that they still have a brother relationship.
They built that bond,
Yeah. So, this episode is so good on so many levels.
It is. It really is.
And we didn't get Cass, but we still had Cass involved, which I still loved when he's like, Dean, I heard gunshots.
He's on the phone.
Yeah. So
now,
because any episode without Cass is sad, but we got enough.
Moving into episode 5, Thin Lizzy, we kick off with a young couple in the Lizzie Borden bed and breakfast. Yes, Fall River, Mass. Lizzie Borden, her parents tried to make her eat vegetables, broccoli. She didn't like that. She gave her parents 40 whacks. So apparently, they learned about all from the Ghost Facers. The young couple gets axed. The boys head to the case. Despite Dean's hesitations because Sam's weird serial killer obsession, Cass is left behind watching The Wire and still recovering. The boys learn that the house is fake haunted, but then another body drops. Then another body shows up in town. The kid from Stranger Things' dad is dead. Then they meet a Lizzie Borden superfan. He wants to see her ghost, but he's not allowed in. Turns out this super sweet weirdo met Amara, actually. She ate his soul at one point, which she's been doing around the town. We know that. She even ate the babysitter's soul. Don't tell mom the babysitter's dead, kids. Which is also who killed Mike's dad. Poor sweet weirdo guy kills the babysitter, saves the boys, turns himself in because he knows he'll kill again if not. This is when the hunt for Amara continues. Yeah, that was fun. I Lizzie Borden, growing up in Massachusetts, I've never been there, but it's allegedly the most haunted place. They made it to a bed and breakfast. People love going there. So allegedly it's
that haunted if people are going to a bed and breakfast.
Well, I mean, they go there because it's haunted. Like people, that's the whole attraction. It's the Lizzie Borden house.
Do you think they have the fake stuff with the fake lights and the fake? I mean, I
don't know. I would love to know if somebody has stayed there, what your experience was, because I have not, but I would really like to stay there, except for I'm kind of afraid.
I would stay there. Who cares? Let's go.
We should do that sometime. That's what we should do. A supernatural. We should do a Ghost Facers in the Lizzie Borden house.
I guess I don't believe any of that stuff, so it's like it doesn't scare me. It's like Brielle and I were watching TV the other day, and she hears a bang on the door. She's like, "What was that?" I'm like, "It was the sign on the door. It's really windy outside." She's like, "Oh." She was like, there's always relevant to like you hear a weird sound. It's gonna be the air conditioning. It's gonna be the heater. Like that's an old house. It's probably like making weird sounds.
Oliver came downstairs and was like, I can't sleep. I'm afraid of Pennywise. And I was like, first of all, where did you watch Pennywise? He's like, YouTube. I was like, first of all, second of all, why are you on YouTube? Then I was like, dude, do you realize how they kill Pennywise? He was like, how? I go, these kids literally talk shit to him and he dies because they're not afraid. They said, we're not afraid. And they talk shit to Pennywise and he dies.
I'm not afraid of you anymore.
Exactly. And so that's what I kind of tell him. If you're afraid of something, just talk crap to it. So that would be me if I ever
don't give it power.
Yeah, right. And so I would stay at the house. That'd actually be fun. Fall River, Massachusetts. It's near the Cape. Do so. But what are... Yeah, it's a real thing. So why don't you tell us some fun facts from this episode?
So there is a real Lizzie Borden B&B, like he was just saying. However, the house used for the exterior shots is not the real one. But a photo of the real one can actually be seen on the back of the pamphlet that Dean picks up in the lobby because obviously they're somewhere near Vancouver. They're not in Massachusetts. Sydney comes out of a bar that's the babysitter called Molly's Hatchet Room. The band Molly Hatchet did a cover of Thin Lizzy's, and the boys are back in town, and Thin Lizzy is the name of the episode. Back in town. Family that runs the B&B have the last name Kemper. Ed Kemper is an American serial killer known as the Co-ed Killer.
Oh,
so very. It's funny that Sam's like into serial killers, and I think you've gotten to it like a serial killer clown. That must be like so confusing for you because you love serial killers, but you hate clowns.
I know. Oh yeah, we did. Yes, they reference that to John Wayne Gacy, don't they?
Yeah.
Okay. Yep. I've gotten to that. It is funny because weirdly enough, he is into serial killers. I guess if Sam were to host a podcast, it would be on true crime podcast.
Yes, 100%.
Easily, without a doubt.
He's like, it's weird. Yeah. It's a hobby. And like Dean calls him out on it. As somebody who's not like huge into true crime, I thought that was so funny, especially because so many of my friends are, because they're all like, I agree with Sam. And I'm like, well, I once again agree with Dean. I'm not a true crime junkie, I guess. I don't know. I find that interesting, but I don't go out of my way to ever listen to true crime podcasts, whatever. No, but Josh will put on like a documentary and like I never have any desire to watch him. And then he puts them on and I'll get like sucked in though when he has them on.
Same. Carrie's into those. And so I'll get sucked in as one does, I guess. I don't know, but I don't go out of my way. This episode was good though. We kind of get, hey, Amara can eat souls. Yeah.
And that one guy was so funny and out there and sweet, but soulless. Very unique. It's just also interesting because we saw Soulless Sam for almost a whole season.
We did.
And so we've now seen 4 different people, including Sam, how they react without their souls. Mm-hmm. And they've all, maybe even more, I don't know. But, like the one girl was like, well, I don't know what murder's like immediately. And so it goes to show you like Sam never had that intent to just murder.
Despite being obsessed with serial killers, yes.
Yeah. And like the one guy, like he was just like, well, I don't enjoy my hobbies anymore. I'm sad. But I'm not sad. I feel nothing.
As depressing, just feeling nothing and not enjoying your hobbies. Come on, that's depressing. Poor guy.
All right.
So, episode 6. What is it?
Our Little World. We kick this episode off with Amara eating another soul and returning to Crowley, a full-on teenager now. Crowley gets angry she keeps sneaking out and throws Amara across the room. The boys are at a loss, so they call Cass at the bunker, who's watching Jenny Jones and is very engaged in the paternity results of some rando. I love how Dean calls him out, and he's like, if you're binging, I thought you were just watching quality stuff like Game of Thrones and The Wire. And Cass goes, a man cannot live on caviar alone. So The boys then learn that soulless Sweet Lizzie fanatic is dead. He was murdered in jail. Crowley sent a demon to kill all Amara's soulless victims, but the boys had set a devil trap so they didn't get her. So they didn't get the recent one whose soul was sucked. This is when they learned Crowley has Amara. So now they're looking for Crowley, who is reading about how to handle rebellious teens. Cash tracks down Metatron, who doesn't know shit about the darkness because he's full of shit. Well, they find Crowley's hideout. Dean sees Teen Amara. Crowley interferes and attacks Dean and explains he's never been able to kill him before because of their bromance, but today he's ready. Then Amara actually stops Crowley and saves Dean, and Dean just cannot kill Amara. Meanwhile, Sam keeps getting flashes of the cage.
Listen, I don't blame Dean at all because Emily Swallow.
It's not Emily Swallow yet, though.
Oh,
it's like
you're right.
Which makes me even more confused because he's looking at this like she's full teenager. Before she was like
she is teenager. You're right. At that point, teenager. Yeah, she's like professing her love for Dean in a weird way, and
or but not, she's not yet a woman. They end up with a song like "Almost a Woman."
He's very confused, as I would be too. What the hell is going on? You saved my life, but you're this big.
You're the darkness. I've been told you're so evil. When you were inside of me, you made me evil.
Yeah, everybody's afraid of you, but we have this weird connection and bond, and something's not quite up. So you get a little bit there. And so it is interesting. I find their relationship very interesting throughout this season.
Yeah. And it
why doesn't she come back to help? I wish, well, I guess I get, why doesn't she come back to help Dean and them with Chuck? I get, okay.
I don't know.
Does that
get
answered?
Conundrum. I don't know.
It doesn't ever get answered because she shows up in 15 for one episode that I've seen so far.
Oh, okay. Yeah. She comes back in 15.
I know. She was there and she told Chuck to piss off, basically. Well, and then she goes to a different Earth.
Well, then why doesn't she come back to help? Mandalorian. She starts making armor.
Fun facts. The title of this episode shares its name with a song from Into the Woods. In the song, the witch is trying to convince Rapunzel that she has everything she could ever desire right where she is, despite being kept prisoner in a tower. Crowley is similarly trying to convince Amara that she doesn't need anything other than what Crowley is providing for her, while also being Stockholm Syndrome. Damn it. As Sam and Dean interrogate the demon, the walls are a dirty, flowery pattern, which is the same room used for season 5 episode Changing Channel. I do remember that one. The Looney Tunes one.
No.
Oh, that wasn't it?
Changing Channels is the doctor show. It's with the trickster.
Oh, yeah. Okay.
I remember that's a sitcom at first. So that's what the flowers were pretty in the sitcom, but in real life,
that's right. Dingy. That's right. Yeah. I said my piece. I don't really have much more on this episode other than I really find their relationship, Dean's relationship. It's funny because everybody gets to know Dean and Sam. They obviously become family, but Amara and Dean's relationship really gets intriguing at this episode, I feel, because this is when they come face to face.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, because then he feels it more intensely because he keeps thinking, no, I can do this, I can kill her, and then he can't.
Yeah.
So I like when they're looking for Crowley, Dean mentions that Crowley, he hates hell. He's not going to go there. And Sam's like, oh, yeah, I always forget about you. And Crowley's Summer of Love. Yeah. And then it was funny when Crowley's sitting there pretending to read something else, but really he's reading the, how to deal with your rebellious teen. You hear a demon say there's been a 40% decrease in soul collections because of legalized marijuana.
Amazing. Jeez. Oh, God.
That's all I got for episode.
Let's go into our final episode, Plush, episode 7. Donna is back. A sad dead guy who dressed up for kid parties passes away. His soul is stuck, tied around to his costumes, which is really creepy. Seeks revenge on the assholes who accused him of being a pedophile and accidentally killed him. They only meant to scare him. Random people put the heads or costumes on and become completely possessed. The heads don't seem to want to come off. Donna realizes it's off and calls the Winchesters. They, of course, let all of the possessed people escape. Poor Doug is in the dark, and copycat killers, they burn the costumes. Yeah, this is a sad episode because my dude, he was just costumes. Like, he was dressing up for kids' parties, and people are really mean and messed up, and that's the fact.
Him of being a pedophile when he wasn't.
That's messed up, man. Really, really messed up.
Yeah, but I like how they're trying to keep Doug in the dark, and he's like, "What do you think this is?" And Donna just kept saying, "Copycat killers, Doug."
Yeah,
of course. Yeah. What else could it be? And then she's like, "Let me guess, this person escaped too." And Sam's like, "Yep." She's like, "I'm so fired," but obviously she doesn't want an innocent person to go to jail either.
Well, yeah, of course. And so, yeah, this it's just one of those sad episodes, fun buddy cop type episodes where we take a break of the seriousness of the main plot line. And Donna, again, I love having Donna back, but this episode reminds me of it's The Mask, I think it's called, for Goosebumps, when she puts on that mask. And
yeah.
That's what this episode reminded me of. Yeah.
Yeah. And so here's a fun fact. When Donna calls Dean, his response is, "What do you mean, Killer Bunny?" This is a reference to the Killer Bunny in Monty Python and the Holy Grail.
Oh.
She also at one point, holds up the clown mask and she's like, "Killer Clown." And so I feel like, Killer
Clown's from outer space. Yeah.
Lots of good things. I love that we got a Who Framed Roger Rabbit reference.
Oh, that's right. Yep.
Sam goes, "Let me guess, you were framed," which seemed so out of character. And then Dean looks at him, doesn't even respond. Dean should have made that joke.
He should have. That was a missed opportunity.
Yeah, I felt like that that was something he normally would have said. And yeah, so I thought that was interesting that they switched it like that. But poor Sam, I also think that Dean knew exactly what he was doing and was just trying to make his brother feel stupid.
Fair.
And then we see Sam come face to face with a clown in the elevator holding a bloody scalpel. So that's always funny to see this giant man who's literally fought the devil be like terrified of clowns all the time.
Right. Yeah, I hate clowns. I hate the clown episodes because they're creepy. I don't like clowns. I don't understand people's obsession with clowns. People who like clowns are freaking weird, man. I don't know how to say it. It's just
tell me how you really feel.
Get away from me. It's
so Doug, do you feel bad for Doug in this episode?
Yeah, I mean, because Doug's the one who was framed and everything, right? Like
Doug's the other cop that she keeps like yelling at, like making him feel stupid.
Oh, well, I mean, yeah, I don't remember. He's not the bad guy or anything, right?
No, he's just like the other, but she ends up dating him later. And do you remember when her niece gets kidnapped? You've seen that one, right?
I do believe so, yes.
Okay. And then he gets bit by the vampire.
Oh, yeah. Okay, yeah, I remember Doug now. I do. Well, yeah, because he didn't deserve to get yelled at like that.
Right. So I feel bad for Doug in this episode, but then after he like up and ditches Donna, I mean, at least he's like honest that he can't handle the hunter life, but I'm just like, come on, Doug, really?
Yeah.
So I don't feel bad.
I do feel anymore. I did at this point. You're right, but you made some good points. You're definitely right.
That's all I got.
That is, but that's all we have for the first 7 episodes. Perhaps the next time we record, I'll be done with Supernatural, which we're going to record. We're going to record my thoughts right after finishing, but also I'll obviously talk about it at the panel because I want my fresh thoughts right after finishing. I feel like I need my fresh thoughts, and then I'm going to have my thoughts at the panel of how I feel after sitting on everything for a little while. And then finally,
you just hit 2 years.
God, finally, it's been that long. Oh my gosh, I feel so bad. It really shouldn't have taken me this long, but again, it's 15 seasons and there's so much we have to watch.
5 years to record too. They have 11, 12, 13, 14, 15.
We do. So we'll get there, but we'll record like initial reactions and things of that. And then obviously our panel is Sunday, February 9th at 11:30 a.m. Make sure you come out for that. Follow us on social media where you can see what our I kind of talk about some of the episodes as I'm on social media, thinking some thoughts out, things of that nature, just tweeting Threads, Blue Sky, whatever we're on. We're on all of them. I'm just kind of like push my thoughts out as we're doing it. I did try to do some TikToks, but we'll do my fresh reaction, I should say, when we're done. As I always say, we'll be back next week with really good stuff as we come along. Make sure you're at our panel at Megacon. We will see you there. Trust us. Cannot wait. So we're going to have some good stuff, man. Thanks for hanging out. We'll see you guys later. Peace out.